Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Women want the top man in their group. And I've touched on this before because I talked about class, subculture, groups, religions, whatever. Because a lot of people talk about hypergamy and everything, but one of the problems I'm seeing is too many men, they trying to look at the men at the ultimate top and think every single woman wants them, even push back with it. Like some dude actually got on here, I mentioned the whole Chad thing. I said, no, there's parts of Africa Chad wouldn't make out. Some guy goes, he would. No, that's some bullshit. Look who getting the women pregnant in those places. look who's having like 15 wives in those places. So that's, it depends on the group, ethnic group, anywhere on the planet. Like, that's one of the biggest mistakes if a man is thinking, well, they all want this tiny, tiny group of men. Come on now. Come on. Because you got different groups, you got different religions, you got different cultures, everything. Now, that being said, no, they ain't going to want that ultimate top that a lot of guys promote and want to fantasize, that Chad, And even some people say, well, that version of Chad. No, it goes beyond that. It goes beyond, it depends. It depends on the religion. Like, you got many subcultures. It's more about how much you practice the subculture. It's more about the subculture, how the men built generally in that group. Like, I've seen some golfs. Most of them ain't looking like a Chad or something, but be having a woman. Or emo boys, that emo subculture. That's looking totally different. Shoot, I saw some the other week. They were talking about it, what was that? That's Swim Thick thing. Swim Thick 2022. It was primarily a bunch of grossly overweight black women. And there was still some guys in there. I mean, it was like, that's actually a group. Like, real quick, whenever there's a group, you always got to look at, okay, who's the guy they're going to still want? They still want the top man. When people talk about the thugs or the Pookies and Ray Rays, only women going for them are women in that class. And when you think you've seen a professional woman with it, because somebody always come back with that, ask what class that woman really came from, even if she has a degree professional. Because I've seen women like that, they always came from that. They always came from that. I can think of one exception, and I've been out there. But most of the time, people stay within the group. See, understand something with women in general. I ain't even hit my timer. Here's the thing. For women, relationships aren't just them personally. Yes, of course, they all go for their personal needs, but also what group they're in. Women are very influenced by their peers. Who are their peers? Usually the type of women who might generally have the same educational background as them, same likes, dislikes, same economic background, same religion, everything. It's usually, yes, ultimately it comes down to their personal preferences, but then they also influenced by the group because people form communities no matter what. That's why you'll get a situation, a woman might be feeling a man, like generally attracted to him, but the rest of the group isn't. So either A, they leave him alone, or B, they sneak around with him, one or the other. But whatever the case, they still want him to be the top man. Like in several subcultures, I've seen it. There's always, like, the top guy might not look what people think is the overall thing, but within that group, oh, he's the man, Like in a poetry subculture, I would hang around like a couple decades ago. The top guys was like that thorough poet. Had a woman doing all this, talking about my queen. You are the ultimate thing. You are the goddess of the universe. Yeah, and that same dude hit that thing on some professional woman. She's like, man, get the fuck out of here. Well, actually, it's a professional woman. They say, can you please walk away from me? I'm serious, it's the thing, but when they're within that group, that's why you get some guys. If they deal with like the quote unquote mainstream or a lot of women, they may not get any attention. They basically non-select. But if they get within that subculture, they the man. Like within certain Christian denominations, where they hardcore about it. You know, that guy might be called, he go outside of that denomination, he'll be called corny. He don't got those tats, you know? Like within the black community, specifically the black community, he might not have those tats. He don't got that fuckboy haircut, that thorough haircut, very plain haircut, no tats, beard game ain't there, nothing. But because of the church he's in, he might be the man. He might be the man. I've seen that. Or, you know, other groups like the Hebrew Israelites. You got several sects of Hebrew Israelites. The type of guy that's going to appeal to the woman might not appeal to outside of that, or several Muslim sects, or, you know, some new age groups. Some of the guys, I'm gonna tell you what, I can think of one guy who's ran through some women, and he's definitely in that new age community. I ain't gonna call it a community. But if you look at him otherwise, your first thought would be, oh man, he's short statured, he's non-select. But I've met two of the women he got with. I've met two of them, you know, seen a third, he's with yet another one. That dude was running through them. But if you look at him, you'd be like, huh? But within that circle, he the man. So that's the thing. And he the top man. See, understand something. You gotta break it down. And see, here's the thing. All right. Okay, so you understand that. And, you know, of course, I always talk about tribes. And let me say something real quick about tribes. It don't necessarily mean your ethnic group. There's some black men out there. Their tribes are predominantly upper middle class white women, or a bunch of white women who are like from a rural area. You got some white guys out there, you know, they going through the sisters. That's their tribe. You know, it's different. It's different things. But here's the thing to understand about it. Because of course we always talk about hypergamy and everything, but see, some guys trying to go for that super thing, which, like I said, you put some of those guys in different subcultures, women be like, they might call him too pretty or something. They might question his manhood because he might not have a requisite amount of tats. But here's the thing. Focus on whatever social circle you in. What social circle you in? You know, is it a religious social circle? Is it primarily ethnic group, economic, all of that? You know, it could be a group that meet every Tuesday to go bowling. You might be the man there. I know this one guy. There was a woman talking about her father. And basically he was cheating on the mom. The mom didn't really care, but he was dealing with a running group of women. That's a social circle right there. And they were loving him. So yeah, he was mistreated on one hand in his regular marriage, but then when he's around these women, that was his group. See, you want to find where you are celebrated. You have a bunch of guys who will say, okay, like legitimately going overseas, traveling. And that's because their social circle or the group who they are click with just happen to live in another country. That's a legit thing. I ain't talking about the money and the tricking and stuff. Sometimes, you know, you deal with other women from another place. I know for myself, Caribbean women love me. So it's like, okay, you pay attention to that. So, you know, that's the whole thing. So you got to figure out what group you in and then work to be the man in that group. Like I mentioned, the poetry subculture. You know, if you're in a group like that based on an activity or something, okay, be the best. It could be at a gym. You want to be that man who's like, you know, you doing all the sets right and everything. You know, the gym I'm at, there's a particular dude in there. He's like the alpha. When he can't make it to do his sets because all the women stopping him to talk to him. And you only take him so seriously because he's married. But that's the real thing. That's his space. He's the top man. So it's easier to focus on your circle. Say your circle is a couple hundred people. It's way easier to focus on that than be some lofty ideal some men are promoting and try to be the top man on the planet. Please, okay? Nah, they ain't gonna work that way. You know, and something else real quick about that, because a lot of guys be talking about money. Reality is some circles, money is irrelevant. From what I know about the golf community, I don't know if money plays a big deal. If somebody knows otherwise, please inform me. But from what I've seen, it doesn't. It depends on, like I said, shoot, your social circle could be a particular club and you the top man because you the DJ. It might not, once they spend the money, get in there, dance club or something. Or it could be, I had a mentor, and this is back in the late 90s, early 2000s. He took salsa. He could teach salsa, and he was getting play from women from salsa. He was the best salsa dancer in there. Rest his soul. But he was the best salsa dancer. He was the top man in that group. So it's easier actually to deal with a smaller group and be the top man than try to be some overall thing. So anyway, that's all I have for today, y'all. I want y'all to think about that. It's like, just try to figure out what your group is and just strive to be the best man. Because that's just a woman's nature. They want the top man, period. But it's influenced by what group they in, where they at, of that nature. So anyway, that's all I got. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.